Hi, everybody. This is Hondo Carpenter from Sports Illustrated's Fan Nation, Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast. It's great to talk to you today. Thanks for joining us. Obviously, we're going to be well into Super Bowl week next week with a lot going on around the Raiders, and we got a lot to talk about today. I know I frustrated a lot of you because I didn't talk on Friday or Saturday about the staff after reporting Thursday night that um, uh, AP had decided on Cliff Kingsbury, and Cliff Kingsbury had said, "Okay, I'm coming." But I made it clear reporting on Thursday night a deal was not yet done. It wasn't official, but they had agreed to do it. And then, of course, you saw the reporting on Saturday that Cliff has backed out. Going to talk about that a little bit, not a ton, but a little bit. I will say the reason I didn't expand on it was there was nothing to expand on. The Raiders wanted him. He allegedly wanted to be a Raider, but there was no deal done. And so we were waiting. And I was told, and if you go back and look, you'll see I said I would talk about it on Sunday. I was told that either way, something was going to be done by the end of Saturday. And that's why I said I would wait and talk to it on Sunday. I want to make a very quick observation. By the way, I'm Hondo Carpenter, Sports Illustrated's Fan Nation, Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast. Thank you for joining us. Don't remember if I said that or not. Sorry, tired. Um, my father used to tell my brothers and sisters and I that until there's a ring on your finger and you're married, you're single. And to keep your eyes wide open before marriage and shut afterwards. And I'll never forget, I had a sibling that was engaged and that didn't work out. And my father made the comment that that's a blessing because you don't want to be with anybody that doesn't want to be with you. And if they had second thoughts, you know what? God bless them for calling it off. My whole point is this. I saw, because I watched on social media, a lot of people. And my first comment to you is this. I saw a lot of people who just, and it's not the majority, but who just instantly went to, well, Telesco screwed this up or Pierce screwed this up. Neither one of them did. Cliff made the decision. This isn't where I want to be. I want to be somewhere else. A deal wasn't signed, and he went, okay. Okay. I would think Raider Nation would be sounding like an evangelical choir. Hallelujah. If the guy doesn't want to be here, we don't want him. I would think that's what you would be saying. Um, it is what it is. There are a ton of candidates that are so qualified, lots of great candidates out there. Antonio Pierce is going to have no trouble filling this job with a quality person that he 100% believes in. But I want to address a couple things. Did it look bad for the Raiders? Of course it does. Of course it does. I'm not going to pretend like it didn't look bad, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. You know what? You dodged a bullet. Somebody that didn't want to be with you isn't. And you get to move on. Cliff did a really good job interviewing with Antonio Pierce. I'm not going to pretend he didn't. But at the end of the day, this wasn't right for him, and he bolted. I think, if anything, if you're a Raider fan, you thank Cliff for jumping. Just like when I had a sibling whose engagement was broken off, my dad went to them and said, listen, don't be mad at them. Be grateful. Marriage is too big of a commitment to go into it not 100% certain. Same way, if you're AP and you're Tom Telesco and you're building and you're not going backwards, this isn't a rebuild. If that guy isn't all in, thank you. God bless you. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. And you move on. And I saw people, this is devastating. This is why AP shouldn't have got the job. No, This has nothing to do with AP. Now, if you don't want AP to get the job, that's a very fair opinion. But don't try to use everything you can skew to fit your narrative. Oh, this was AP. It's not fair to him. It's not fair to you. You're more intelligent than that. Now, they've interviewed Chip Kelly, who's currently the head coach at UCLA, Pep Hamilton, Hugh Jackson, and Eric Bieniemy. But I told you about Bieniemy a few weeks ago. If you go back, this is what I love about the digital age. I told you I've been told by a source about Eric Bieniemy. Okay. Now, I had a lot of people say to me, what'd you think of Cliff? Didn't matter what I thought. Mark Davis doesn't care what I think. Antonio Pierce is not coming to me saying, Hondo Carpenter, would you sit on a committee to help me pick an OC? Doesn't care what I think. I had concerns about Cliff. And if you haven't seen the Johnny Manziel documentary on Netflix, I'd go back and watch that. Of his influence on Johnny Manziel. I know people that have played for Cliff, and I know people who were part of the organization in Arizona that felt like he was an absolute genius offensively, but would make some decisions that didn't make a lot of sense. So I trust AP and Tom Telesco. If that's the guy they wanted, and it was, okay. It's their jobs on the line, not mine. And of those four names, and I think there's a very good chance the next OC could come from that, but a equal as good a chance that the next OC isn't one of those four names I just gave you. They're casting a broad net. They want to talk to a lot of people. Oh, and Luke, I think I may have said it, if I didn't, forgive me, but Hugh Jackson, Pep Hamilton, Luke Getsy, Chip Kelly, and Eric Bieniemy. There's some really good guys on there. There's a couple of guys I wouldn't want, but doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what I think. And don't ask me who, because it doesn't matter. All that matters is just win, baby. Just win. There's a ton of weapons there, and the Raiders need to just win. So I understand Raider fans are frustrated, but I mentioned to you about a week ago on the broadcast, or maybe 5 days ago, but I talked about this is not a point of concern like getting the head coach and general manager finalized is. There's a lot of super qualified people that want to come here. I was asked by someone today, was it because the Raiders don't cash and they're cheap? First of all, I've tried to dispel this rumor ad nauseum. The Raiders are not broke. This is not the Raiders of old when they were in Oakland or even in Los Angeles. This Raider team is flush with cash, and Mark is willing to spend it to win. Be thankful if you're a Raider fan that you've got an owner who's willing to stroke a check. This was not over Mark Davis, wouldn't pay. And to make sure that's just blowing out of the water. And anybody you see saying that, you can look at them and go, you don't know anything. This was a Cliff Kingsbury decision, and he moves on. So a lot of great options there. The Raiders are going to have a very good offensive coordinator. And to their credit, and I think they should be credited, they're being very thorough because they've got Patrick Graham. They've got Marvin Lewis on that staff, who I'm going to talk about in a minute. They've got Antonio Pierce on that staff. They've got a Rob Leonard on that staff. They got a bunch of really good defensive minds on that staff. And I'm leaving guys out. I apologize. And it shouldn't, because that's everybody that's on that staff is tremendous. The weak link has been, you are the weakest link. Goodbye. He's gone. The Raiders are anew. So they know how important it is to get that offense right. and they're taking their time. There is zero concern on my part, and I cover this team. I'm not a fan, but if I were had thought you had reason to be concerned, I would tell you that. If anything, I think if you're a Cliff Kingsbury fan, you can be disappointed, but be grateful if this wasn't where his heart was, that he bailed. Now, let's talk about time frame. I think the Raiders would like to get this done sooner rather than later. There's a lot of tension going, attention, not tension, attention going on now with everybody in Vegas. Media day tomorrow, a lot of big stuff going on. And I think the Raiders want to get it done clearly because whoever they hire, they want them to be doing a deep dive and looking at the roster and what do you think? What are your thoughts? I was told by someone yesterday that they just were bragging on Tom Telesco and Antonio Pierce and how they're working together here early already. So I think there's a lot of reasons for you to be optimistic. A lot of reasons. And so I know some people, the Raiders over the years have given you a lot of reason for angst. And so that's your go-to emotion. That's fine. I don't think you're a bad fan if you go there. I wouldn't jump to superlatives that are inaccurate. Blaming AP, blaming Telesco, calling Mark cheap. I mean, because none of that is factual. Cliff wanted to be somewhere else. I respect that. In fact, I'll go a step farther. I'm not a huge fan of Cliff as a coach. Personally, great guy. Just I'm not a big fan of him as a coach. I'm more respectful of him today as a coach than I was when him and AP said, okay, let's do this. I trusted AP, but I'm more because I think he made the right decision. I've heard some people saying, well, what about, is this like Josh McDaniels when he bailed on Indiana or Indianapolis? No. Josh had legitimate reasons to bail out of Indianapolis. I'm not going to get into them, and you don't have to believe that, but he had legitimate reasons, and I think they were the right reasons. Cliff, I don't know that if he didn't want to be here, that's a legitimate reason. So I guess it's Josh like that in a little bit, but it wasn't anywhere for the reasons that Josh didn't want to go to Indianapolis. So there you go. There's that. Let's talk about Marvin Lewis. This is a terrific addition for Antonio Pierce. He surrounds himself with wise counsel. He knows, I mean, AP doesn't need to be told how to lead men. That's what he's done his whole life. But there are nuances to a new job, and he's surrounding himself with an advisor in Tom Coughlin and Marvin Lewis, potentially some other guys with experience who could be coming in the way of the Raiders. Let's leave it right there for right now. Because he's very strong in who he is. He understands it's not a sign of weakness to say I need help. Max Crosby wasn't weak because one day he made the decision, I've got to get sober. I need help. You may be watching this program right now and you're going through a difficult situation in your life and you need help. Don't think you're weak for thinking you need help. That's not weakness on Antonio Pierce. If anything, it makes me even have more confidence that he's going to do a terrific job leading the Silver and Black. So he goes and gets Marvin Lewis. Now, I'm going to share a couple things with you. I got to know Marvin in 2002 and in 2003. As you know, I'm a Spartan, and I was part of a group that wanted him to come to Michigan State to be the head coach at Michigan State. I believed in him. The guy's phenomenal. And could have had the Michigan State job, but decided to wait because he thought he would get an NFL job, and he did. He is a man of tremendous integrity, tremendous integrity. He is a man of great character. He is no nonsense like Antonio Pierce. He won't suffer a fool. He's a disciplinarian, but he's a player's coach. He will be terrific on this staff. He's an assistant head coach right now. Let's wait and see how it all falls out, and then you'll know exactly what his job is. But this is a great addition, and that's why there hasn't been an announcement, because you're waiting to figure out what exactly are going to be his purview of his job. But this was a great hire. There's been others. I'll get to all those at another time. But when you get a chance to bring somebody like Marvin Lewis in, I mean, he was behind the 8 ball in the Natty, one of the cheapest franchises. I mean, it was the Natty in San Diego. San Diego clearly has opened the checkbook and spent big for Harbaugh. Good for them. If you're a Bolt fan, you got to be thrilled that you got Harbaugh. Thrilled. I saw some people asking me, but do you think Harbaugh would have lost Cliff? No, because Harbaugh wouldn't have gone after Cliff. That's not fair to whomever. It's like constantly comparing your wife to an old girlfriend or your husband to an old boyfriend. Don't do that. I mean, I take that back. You can do whatever you want. But if you're a Raider fan, come on, get your focus forward. Get your focus forward. Harbaugh ain't coming here. Mark Davis had a chance to hire him twice. Harbaugh had interest in the Raiders twice. Raiders did not in him. It's over. Let it go. Get on the AP. That's your coach. It's like, I'll say it to you this way. After every election, okay, let's just use when Barack Obama got elected. There were people driving around that said, Barack Obama's not my president. Well, if you're an American citizen, he was your president. When Donald Trump was president, Donald Trump's not my president. Well, if you're an American citizen, he was your president. Joe Biden's not my president. If you're an American citizen, he is. If you're a Raider fan, AP's your coach. I'm sorry if your feelings are hurt and Mark Davis didn't ask you your opinion and hire who you wanted. So you have 2 options. I guess you have 3. Be miserable. Some people just like to be that way. Get on the AP wagon and wish for the best, or pick another team. But that's a reality. That's just truth. It's just the truth bomb. Or as Zeke would say, that's just keeping it 100. And so you bring in a Marvin Lewis now, and a tactician, a great teacher. He's not a good teacher. He's a fantastic teacher. I've had so many friends that played for him that talked to me about how he made them better. I'll tell you guys a great story. So he had a punter once, and he's standing there, and he had his back turned to the punter. And the punter punts, and Marvin Lewis turns around and says, hey, stop. Kick again. Punter kicks. He goes, listen, your foot is going through the grass, and I can hear it before it strikes the football. It's slowing down your foot speed. You got to keep your foot out of the grass so you can get the ball further. I was told this by one of the players. And what happens? He works on it. The punter ends up exponentially better. He's just that guy. He gets it. It's like understanding certain techniques. He's a teacher. He's a tactician. He's not a babysitter. He's going to run whatever he's over like AP does. Hey, we're going to have a cigar. We're going to have fun. We're going to enjoy ourselves. But we work. That's what he's going to tell the guys. We work. We're going to stick to our plan and do what we do. I think it was a brilliant hire. Absolutely brilliant. I think it would have been a brilliant hire if Josh McDaniels would have brought in Marvin Lewis. I think anybody who had a chance to hire Marvin Lewis hits a home run. It's going to be great. And it shows you a lot of what you know about AP. And I think there's a very good chance he's going to bring some people on his staff who are the same way. So great hire there. Now, I want to talk about two other things. Carl Weathers has passed. Apollo Creed. The Star Wars. I mean, the guy's tremendous. And a Raider linebacker. I want to quickly share a story with you that I think would really put Carl Weathers kind of in perspective. A few years ago, I was in an airport and Carl Weathers was there. Didn't know me from Adam. And it was funny because people knew him from the new Star Wars movie on Disney, the Star Wars series on Disney Plus, The Mandalorian. And it was just interesting watching how kind he was. I just watched. I didn't go over at all. Just I thought it was cool. I thought it was really cool, and I just think that speaks very highly of his character, of who he is as a man and a person. I always look, how do people treat people that they have nothing to gain? That tells me a lot about you. Are you compassionate to people that you have nothing? I had a buddy who owned a company and his son got in trouble. So he made his son a janitor for 2 weeks at his company. So my buddy was hiring a guy for a very high position in his company, very high position. I mean, a salary of probably $400,000 or $500,000 a year. And the guy says to this kid janitor, "Hey kid, get me a coffee." The kid just kept working. The guy made a comment that I won't repeat, but he made a comment questioning the young man's mental aptitude. Are you, I'll just insert, not mentally with it all? Give me a coffee, kid. The kid ignores him. So, boss out of the office, my friend, this guy's sitting there, and he turns to me and goes, "Hey, just a second. I'll be right with you. Son, how's it coming?" "Good, Dad." He says, "He wants me to get a coffee, and he asked me if I am," and he uses a term. He goes, "Really?" I goes, "Yeah." And he looked at the guy and goes, "Yeah, I don't think we're going to be needing you. Thanks." I love to watch how people treat people that have nothing to gain by. And that was Carl Weathers. And I was around him a few times, obviously, but that was one time I got to see him when he didn't know any media were around, and he just thought it was fans. And he was so cool and so kind. And I just respect people like that. And I like genuine and I like kind people. So there you go with that. Now, I want to go back because there's one other pillar that I really want to hit here. Several of you have emailed and asked if I thought Cliff backing out. Now, let me go back. Several of you emailed and asked if I thought Cliff changed my opinion from my last mock draft. Well, first of all, my mock drafts aren't my opinion. It's what I'm hearing from people around the league. Number one. Number two, then I had a bunch of people, well, now that Cliff is backing out, do you think it changes quarterback? No. I don't think Cliff getting the job or not getting the job changes the quarterback perspective at all. At all. The Raiders are doing their due diligence. I don't think they've made any final decision. In fact, I know they've not made any final decision on what they're going to do. So Cliff getting the job or not getting the job did not impact that one iota. Has nothing to do with it at all. If you didn't see my last mock draft, make sure you check it out. And I'll have another one coming soon. Now, I want to address one other thing. At si.com/NFL/Raiders, our website, we are doing lots of features on draft prospects. Now, we're not just doing these to do them, we're actually doing them on guys we know that the Raiders are scouting, looking at, and taking interest in. So I want to just take a quick moment and really encourage you to go check that out, to go enjoy those. There's several up there. We've been doing it now since the season ended, and we're constantly changing things. We're adding people because we're learning things or whatever. So I really encourage you to go check that out. Now, another thing I want to mention to you, two more things I want to mention. I've been telling you for several weeks that I was going to have a former Super Bowl winning quarterback who now has a service where he rates all of the quarterbacks, come on the show and share his opinion on all of the draft eligible quarterbacks. He has recently been retained by a team who is paying him not to release his information publicly, but only give it to him. So he will not be appearing in the pod. Good for him. One team basically just said, okay, listen, we want all you have a great track record. We want all your information. What's it going to cost it to just have you provide to us? And he's doing that. So I'll tell you that real quick. He is helping me, though, get some other people who are very good. He's giving me some information for my articles. But I'll just tell you right now, I that would come right after the Super Bowl, but this recently just happened. So I wanted to tell you that immediately. Also, coming up February 20th, which is a Tuesday from 6 to 7:30, I am going to be making an appearance in San Antonio, Texas. Seating is limited. Seating is limited. I'm going to have Shannon there and Dexter with me. And you can go to the San Antonio Black Hole chapter. If you look at my social media, X, formerly known as Twitter, at Hondo Carpenter. If you go look at my Instagram, which is Hondo SR, you can find it. You can go to our Facebook page, which is Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast. Whatever you want to do, but go check this stuff out. And we would love to meet you. It's 100% free. You got to buy your own dinner and drinks, but it's 100% free. And then come down, and it's an hour and a half of Raider talk. So I'm going to be down there one night only. Hope to see you. Make sure you sign up. It would be great to see you. I'd love to spend some time with you and enjoy your presence. And I know that Shannon would like to meet a lot of you, and I know Dexter would love it as well. So recapping, Cliff Kingsbury makes a decision. I want to be somewhere else. Good for him. You don't want anybody that doesn't want you. Period. Period. You don't want that. The Raiders have a ton of great options. There's a ton of people that want to be here. And AP is waiting for somebody to win them over. Cliff did. Cliff had a great interview. Nobody's denying that. But you keep working, keep moving along. Hey, I'm going to tell you this. When I asked my wife to marry me, I told her I'm sure I wasn't your first option. But I'm going to make sure that I'm your last. And so if Antonio Pierce didn't get his first choice, it's not the end of the world. There's lots of good coordinators and people that want to be here. So again, I'd already told you a while ago about Eric Bieniemy, Chip Kelly, Pep Hamilton, Hugh Jackson, and Luke Getsy. Don't overlook Getsy. And remember, for all the people that just want to throw Getsy away, Look at Patrick Graham. There's a lot of people wanting to throw him away after his time with the Giants. Not saying he's going to be the equivalent of Patrick Graham. I trust AP to make this decision. Just don't throw people away like that. Trust me, I think you'd be doing it at your own peril. So come out, see us in San Antonio. Please make sure you're checking out those draft profiles. I think you'll really super enjoy them. Again, Marvin Lewis is a great hire. Gonna have a lot more good stuff for you coming tomorrow. Don't miss it. From all of us here at Sports Illustrated's Fan Nation Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast, thank you for being with us. Remember, go to si.com/NFL/Raiders. Read all of our stories. Click on the newsletter link at the top of the page. Click on it. Sign up. We don't spam you. 3 emails a week with all of our stories. You're gonna love it. Follow me on Instagram, Hondo SR. Follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Hondo Carpenter. Thanks again, everybody. We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.